Maxxis tires have not only gotten more expensive, they're also getting heavier. Let's take a look. All right, so quick backstory before we get into this. I needed new tires and I went to the local bike shop to get a 2.5 DHF front and the 2.4 Recon rear, both in 3C Max Terra. Got to the store, picked them up, held them, saw the price tag, $93. That just blew me away. I mean, this may not be news to a lot of you guys, inflation, bike industry, all that stuff, but $93 for a tire, you need two of them, you pay taxes on top of that, you're at $200. And I just could not bring myself to spend that much money on some tires. So put them back on the shelf, headed on my way, started doing some research, looking at some other brands than Maxxis, because it just seems a little nuts to charge that much. Almost an insult in a way. But in that process, I was looking at weights and tread patterns and all these things from other brands, and then comparing them to some of the notes that I have. A little bit weight weenie, a little crazy. I've got a list of notes on my phone. Tire weights, tire widths. I like to look at them. I like to look at combinations and see what the weights would be. Like I said, it's a little nuts, and I'll admit that. But anyway, during that process, I also went back to the Maxxis site because I just wanted to see, can you buy them from them? Are they any cheaper than that? Start looking at the details on the DHF, and I see a different weight than I have in my notes. And that's when I've kind of stumbled upon this thing where their tires are actually getting heavier, and I'm not really sure why. But let's go ahead and take a look at the DHF right now. So here we are on the official Maxxis site. We're looking at the Minion DHF. I'm going to scroll down to the specs, and everything in this video I'm looking at 3C Max Terra EXO, not the EXO Plus, just the standard EXO. So the 29 2.5, let's see, 3C Max Terra here. So we'll highlight that row. And we're looking at a weight of 1,099 grams. And I just knew in my mind from looking at my notes before that what I remembered was something around 1,000. Looked back at my notes and I saw 1,005. And I'm like, okay, maybe I just got something wrong. Like maybe somehow I was looking at a different tire. Maybe I was looking at the 2.3. So what I did was I jumped to another site to compare that, somebody that sells them and also has their specs. So quickly over here at Jensen USA, 3C, EXO, we'll scroll down to the specs. We can see that it is the Max Terra, the 29 2.5 right here, this column, and looking at the weight, 1,005 grams. That's exactly what I had from my notes. So I'm thinking, okay, maybe it's just the DHF, maybe they're just redesigning something with that. Let's just check another tire. I've ridden the DHR as a front tire and really liked it. And I remember that one being middle 900s in terms of grams. So let's scroll down here. This is 29, these come in 2.4, and I've got this row, pre-highlighted, 29, 2.4, 3C Max Terra, all the stuff that I talked about before, coming in at 1,035. I'm like, okay, I know that tire wasn't that heavy. I did a video on that tire when I put it on. I know it wasn't that heavy. So same thing, hopping back over Jensen, let's take a look at it here. Now, they kind of group a bunch of stuff together with the 3C EXO tubeless ready, because they're given a range for all these combinations up here, but 955 is what they had there. And again, that's exactly what I had in my notes. So thinking, okay, let's just check another tire. Here's a Recon. Really like the Recon as a rear tire because it's super lightweight. It's got a really fast tread pattern, but however that tread pattern works, it also grips really, really well too in most scenarios. But that's aside from the point. So let's go down here, we'll look at the weights, pre-highlighted, 29 2.4, same stuff as before, 901 grams. That's another one where I'm like, okay, right away, I know this is different because it was in the 800s before. I remember it was in the 800s. So back to Jensen, and the reason that I'm going back to Jensen, I could have gone to any other company that sells these as well, but it's like, okay, they're going off the old information. The information probably just hasn't been updated on their site yet. So anyway, let's scroll down to the Recon. 29 2.4 3C Max Terra, this column right here, 840 grams. And again, it's exactly what I had in my notes. This is probably the case for a lot more tires than this too, but these are the ones that I had notes on. I kind of knew what was going on before. So we can see from everything on screen here that Maxxis tires are definitely getting heavier. Now, I'm not trying to badmouth Maxxis too much. There are actually two really good reasons that I can think of why their tires are beginning to weigh more. First is that their tires are notorious for not being the actual width that they claim. A lot of times you get a 2.4, mount it up, measure it, it's 2.3, 2.35 maybe. So it's possible with this extra weight, they're actually using more material to be able to get the tires to the width that they're supposed to be. Secondly, there have been plenty of people that have complained about the EXO tires being too thin on the sidewalls, too easy to tear them, not strong enough. So maybe Maxxis is addressing that, thickening up the sidewalls, a little more strength in the casing, and that's what's causing the extra weight. Of course, either of these two scenarios are just speculation by me, but regardless of that, the tires are getting heavier. It's very evident by what we just saw on the screen. So I just wanted to pass that information on to you guys. Maxxis tires are still great. I mean, the compounds are really, really good. The tread patterns are really good. You can find pretty much any tire you want for the type of riding that you're doing. But just keep in mind that there's plenty of other tire manufacturers out there worth considering. Well, I hope you got something useful out of this video. If you did, give me a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. Stay tuned to see what I went with on my bike that is not a Maxxis setup. At least on paper, it seems better in every way. It's cheaper, it's lighter, it seems like a really solid combination of a tread pattern and the compounds they went with. Well, thank you again for watching this video, and I hope to see you next time.